1980 was great, yeah, I remember it. But I got to tell you, I think now is the most exciting period in consumerism. Really, what fostered that kind of growth, what made that achievable was four basic things. First of all, consumers, for the most part, had homogeneous needs and preferences. Yeah, there were differences, slight differences between what one family needed versus what another family needed, but for the most part, families were pretty much the same. Family composition was the same. Most families were married. Most people had children. Most people lived, a relatively normalized, suburbanized life. And that's why most people's needs were relatively the same. We had an exploding middle class for many, many years, and it wasn't an accident. I know with the election we're hearing a lot about the middle class and reviving the middle class. We need to understand that the middle class wasn't an accident. It was manufactured. It was deliberate. We had a very, very profound big media effect, and big media was very, very effective. And we'll talk about why in a minute. And then lastly, distribution of a product. Because products were scarce, distribution of a product made a destination, right? If I could put my product somewhere, it made that place a destination for my product. I promise you that 80% of the other retailers out there, many of whom are in your category, don't get it. They don't understand the point in history that we are at right now, and they think that this whole thing is temporary. But it's not. And if you can get that idea today, you're going to be well ahead of your competitors. I promise you that. And baby boomers now, most of whom, I'm 48 years old, I'm on the end of the generation. I've got basically 2 years left by this statistic before I stop buying anything, it seems. I just start wearing the same clothing every day for the rest of my life, I guess. But it is true. Statistically, you buy less stuff. You need less stuff, right? You want your kids to take your stuff. So you just need less stuff. So what we're adjusting to right now demographically, and what is really kind of scary, is that we're losing that big fat target that was so easily identifiable, so easy to market to, and instead we got this. We get this hodgepodge of different lifestyles, different family compositions, different ethnicities, different age groups, some of whom are more important than others. Right? Different lifestyle choices. All of these things make it very, very difficult to pinpoint people's needs. The debt rate went through the roof. It's even higher than that now in Canada. How many of you are from Canada? Okay, so we are like 150 now. 145, let's say, I think is the latest figure. So that's kind of frightening. That means for every dollar you make, you owe $1.45. Right, so that's untenable, right? And that's what happened, certainly happened in the US. So the way it all shakes out is like this. Between 1975 and 2005, on a fixed expense basis, if you were dedicating 50% of your income to fixed expenses in 1975, by 2005, with two income earners working harder, it was 75%. 50% versus 75%. And the way this all shakes out, and the reason I'm telling you all this, because I think it's important to have the context, the way it all shakes out is this. The top 5% of income earners in this country generate 37% of all US spending. Now, if that doesn't freak you out, match it against this. The bottom 80% of all income earners only generate 2% more. Consumers now have this new degree of considered consumption. Right? I don't have to tell you guys, right? Everybody increasingly is walking around with a computer in their pocket, so they're able to check prices, they're able to check quality. So what's happening, though, that's sort of what we see in the headlines, of course, but what's really happening is there's a bifurcation taking place where that average experience, that middle experience, is being split into two very distinctly different experiences. One is a high fidelity experience, the other is a high convenience experience. Everything else in the middle is just average. You also don't want to be out here because you can't be. You can't achieve that place where you're both, We have this incredible high-fidelity experience, and we replicate it 1 billion times on every street corner. It doesn't work that way. Starbucks tried it, and it didn't work for them, so they had to scale back. Median wage hourly for retail staff is $9.34 an hour. Clerks work for $9.34 an hour. Brand ambassadors don't, but they return enormous exponential value to your business. So you're going to have to get used to, if this is the direction you pursue, you're going to have to get used to higher pay grades. But I promise you, the benefits are there. The days of the clerk are over. And if you're playing that middle of the road, if you're still trying to sell that average product in an average way to an average consumer, you're going to have to raise your game. I was encouraged to hear about the technology that IQmetrics is releasing, because I think it falls in line with this. And it was completely, frankly, unintentional to talk about and align these two things today in the talk. But the idea of assisted sales, of empowering your brand ambassadors to create a better experience.